Batman: The Mask of Phantasm is a 1993 American animated superhero film directed by Radomski and Bruce Timm. The film is based on the Batman animated series and is the first original theatrical film produced by Warner Bros. Animation, the first film in the DC animated universe and the only one released theatrically. Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, Efrem Zimbalist Jr, Bob Hastings and Robert Costanzo reprise their roles from the animated series, and they are joined by Dana Delany, Hart Bochner and Stacy Keach. The story follows Batman as he reconciles with a former lover, Andrea Beaumont, and faces a mysterious vigilante who is murdering Gotham City's crime bosses. The plot was inspired by Michael W. Barr's Batman Year 2 comic book story arc, but features an original antagonist, the Phantasm, in place of the Reaper, while also borrowing elements from the Batman Year 1 graphic novel and recounting how Bruce Wayne became Batman and his first attempts to fight crime. Until the limited release of Batman the Killing Joke in 2016, Mask of Phantasm was the only animated Batman film to be given a theatrical release. The film was ranked as one of the 25 best animated films of all time, and was considered one of the best Dark Knight stories on the big screen until Batman Begins. Mask of Phantasm was cited as an example of a film that effectively personified the character's inner bubble and psyche by actor Robert Pattinson, who of course plays Bruce Wayne Batman in the 2022 release, The Batman. Now this is one of the most stunning portrayals of Batman I've ever seen. The 1992 animated series is a must-watch for any true Batman fan, and the series understood Batman perfectly. The dark tragedy of the story of this man trying to fill his life with something he can never replace. He's a lonely, dark individual whose true mask he wears in the day, as he treads the fine line between good and evil. And the Mask of Phantasm understood the sadness and the darkness behind the Batman character perfectly. The love arc between Andrea and Bruce Wayne is perfect and wonderful, and even as a young child I invested so heavily into this relationship. The movie shows their relationship in flashbacks, and each flashback shows that even though Bruce and Andrea are trying so hard to make this work, things tend to get worse. Bruce's relationship with Andrea, which first shows promise, eventually turns into turmoil. At first, Bruce and Andrea are set for marriage, but then Bruce is given a farewell note from Andrea, cutting off their relationship. This eventually leads to Bruce's decision to become Batman. I almost felt the scene paralleled Andrea's decision to avenge her own parents and reject love when she finds that their own father is murdered. Both events transform the two people. Bruce becomes Batman and Andrea becomes the Phantasm. One scene depicts Bruce Wayne at his parents' tombstone saying, "I didn't count on being happy." This scene was a pivotal moment in Bruce's tragic life as he denies himself the opportunity to live a normal life. One of the most powerful scenes in the movie is when Bruce puts on the mask for the first time, after Andrea breaks off their engagement, and Alfred says, "My God." He's reacting in horror because he's watching this man that he's helped raise from childhood, this man who has let the desire for vengeance and retribution consume his life, and at last embrace the unspeakable. It is a beautiful, touching, strong moment in the movie. And seeing Bruce interacting with his parents' grave after he's made this promise to avenge them is just stunning to see this portrayal of Batman, this human side of this most iconic of characters. And to see Andrea and Bruce fighting it out as they stand on two opposite sides of this line that Bruce won't cross is sad and tragic to watch. Of course, another fantastic aspect of this film is the role of the Joker. In this film, you see him as a young gangster making his way up the ladder of the crime world. Once an assassin for Velestri, he is directly responsible for the murder of Carl Beaumont, who therefore inspires Andrea Beaumont to become the Phantasm. You later see him become hideously transformed into his more familiar face as one of Batman's arch enemies. Now, what more can I say about Mark Hamill's voiceover work as the Joker? It still shocks me to this day that Luke Skywalker could encapsulate the very essence of the Joker in every facet just with his voice. From the iconic laugh to the interchange between sounding happy and angry in just one sentence, it is absolutely mesmerizing to listen to Hamill's take on the Joker. Kevin Conroy is always reliable as the Batman, from his perfect pitch without growling as the Batman to the same lighter tone that he uses when he plays Bruce Wayne. Kevin Conroy perfectly captures Batman's voice. Now this movie is a must-see, and it added perfectly to the animated series, which to this day will stand the test of time as one of the great takes on the Batman character. I've watched this film so many times, and yet I never get tired of it. And the soundtrack by Shirley Walker is absolutely breathtaking. From the opening choir performance at the start of the movie, it just moves you and makes you realize that this is going to be special. Don't view it as just an animated movie. View it as a true depiction of Batman. For me, this was the first time the Batman character was taken seriously on screen. The first time they really understood the tragedy of what it is to be Batman, to what it is to be the Dark Knight, and the sacrifices that he has to make in order to fulfill his promise to his late parents. Why he will always be alone on this dark crusade, and why he feels the need to almost punish himself. This movie captures the true meaning of what it is Batman stands for, and why he is such a unique and fascinating character. Batman: Mask of Phantasm gets a 10 out of 10.